So here's one of the crazier stories I've covered in a while. And frankly, if it was longer, I would have covered it on the They Did What channel, but I tend to keep the shorter stories over here. Titled, Am I the A-hole for blowing up my girlfriend after therapy backfired? And a shout out to Walter for sending me this story. Now listen to this therapy. He says, my girlfriend, Emma, a 27-year-old female, and I've been together for 6 years. For most of that time, we've been happy. Like, really happy. The kind of relationship people say just works, you know? We were always on the same page, rarely fought, and generally enjoyed each other's company. But over the past year, things started to feel different. Small arguments here and there, more miscommunication, and just this weird sense that we weren't in sync as we used to be. Well, that eventually happens to relationships over time. It wasn't anything major, just the usual wear and tear stuff, or so I thought. Emma, however, seemed to be more concerned. She started pointing out issues I wasn't even aware of, like how I supposedly wasn't listening enough or wasn't as emotionally available as I used to be. Oh yeah? Well, is she as thin as she used to be? Is she eager in bed as she used to be? Is she as fun as she used to be? You know, I'm sure there are things, it ain't just you, dude. I admit I've been busy with work, but I thought we were doing okay. Still, I didn't want to dismiss her feelings. Okay, this guy obviously cares about her. Then about 6 months ago, she suggested we go to couples therapy. Now, I've always been a bit skeptical about therapy unless things are really bad, but I agree because I figured it couldn't hurt. She said she found a great therapist through a friend and we should give it a try. I wasn't familiar with this so-called Lily character, but Emma was excited about it, so we booked our first session. Okay, so he's willing to work on it. Now, it'd be a pretty good idea to do your homework on who this therapist is. A quick Google search to see who she is, reviews, how long she's been practicing, that type of thing, and you'll see why. At first, the session seemed fine. Lily asked good questions, got us to open up, and gave us some tools to communicate better. I felt like I was doing my best to listen and improve, but something about it felt a little off. And this is why I always say, trust your gut, gentlemen. Every time we talked about any issue, it seemed like Lily was always subtly siding with Emma. Wow, how interesting. But that's not that surprising. If I mentioned being stressed from work, she'd steer the conversation towards how I wasn't giving enough attention to Emma. If I brought up a disagreement, somehow it became about my communication issues. Then this would be the time to say, girlfriend, I think it's time we find another therapist because this isn't very balanced. I'm not the total villain here. This isn't just one-sided. After a few weeks, Emma started using phrases like, Lily thinks you should try this, or Lily says you need to work on that. It felt like everything I did was being scrutinized and dissected by this woman, a woman that I barely knew. I didn't want to be paranoid, but it seemed like Lily was slowly convincing Emma that I was the problem in the relationship. And every time I voiced my own concerns, she brushed them aside. Well, then you should stop seeing her. End of story. Be a fucking man, be a leader, say, no, this is not going to work. This is everything. It's all about me being the villain here. I'm not the fucking villain here. So I tried pushing through it, thinking maybe I was just being defensive. But it did not stop. Every session, the same dynamic. It was like Lily was planting seeds of doubt in Emma's head, and Emma was running with them. I even started to wonder if maybe I was the problem. Was I actually this bad of a partner? Things reached a boiling point a couple weeks ago. During a session, Lily started suggesting that maybe we should consider a break, so I could work on myself more. Really? That's what this so-called therapist is saying? And now she was suggesting that we split up. I looked at Emma, waiting for her to disagree or defend me, but she just sat there quietly nodding along. Uh-huh. Well, when you guys hear the ending, this will all make sense. After that session, I couldn't hold it anymore. I blew up at Emma when we got home. I told her I didn't trust Lily's judgment, that it felt like she was feeding Emma's reasons to blame me for everything wrong in the relationship. Emma got defensive, saying that I was overreacting, and that Lily was just trying to help us work through our issues. Well, gee, Emma, it doesn't feel like Lily's trying to help we. It seems like Lily's trying to help you. We didn't talk for a few days, and I started feeling guilty for snapping. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe therapy really was exposing some flaws I need to work on. But then again, something happened that blew everything wide open. Last week, we went to a mutual friend's party. While there, I overheard Emma and her best friend and her friend Sarah talking in the corner, giggling about something. I caught just a bit of their conversation. And here's what it is. He's quoting them. I can't believe you pulled off for this long. poor guy still thinks she's an actual therapist. What? I immediately confronted them, and that's when Emma's face turned pale. Sarah quickly tried to backtrack, but the truth was spilled out. It turns out Lily isn't a licensed therapist at all. And this is why you do your homework, and also explain some things. She's one of Emma's close friends from college, who thought it'd be fun to help Emma fix me by posing as a therapist. Oh, lawsuits, especially if he exchanged money for her services, for pretending to be a licensed therapist. Emma had set this whole thing up because she thought I would agree to therapy otherwise. Oh, for goodness sake. They figured, with Lily playing that part, they could guide me into becoming a better boyfriend without me knowing. This takes screwed up and evil to a whole new level. I felt completely betrayed, and for months I've been spilling my heart out to someone who wasn't even qualified to help, and I've been in on it the whole time. All these sessions where I felt attacked and manipulated suddenly made sense to me because I was being manipulated. This is a whole new level of evil. When I confronted Emma about how messed up this was, she broke down saying she never meant to hurt me, and she just wanted to help us grow as a couple. But honestly, I don't know how to move past this. I haven't been able to look at her the same ever since. Now, Emma and her friends are saying that I overreacted and that was just a white lie meant to help our relationship. But I felt like I've been gaslit and lied to for months. Because you were? So, am I the a-hole for blowing up my girlfriend when I found out our therapist was a total fraud? Smack for actually asking that question. Dude, don't be a moron. No, you're not the a-hole. This takes evil and twisted to a whole new level here. That's why I said this is one of the most effed up stories I've covered in a while. Number one, get rid of her completely. She does this to you. There's no care or love for you. All along pretending and now laughing about it. Get rid of her, move on. She is evil. And two, this so-called therapist, again, I want to know if money was exchanged for her services. But at the very least, I think this guy can fucking pull some strings to sue her for fraud, misrepresenting herself as a licensed therapist. And I gotta wonder if she's actually like in school to become a therapist but hasn't been licensed yet. You gotta destroy that whole thing. But anyway, good freaking Lord. He stays with her after this. He deserves everything he gets. But this is why you do your homework on these people. But what the hell? I mean, that is freaking crazy. But anyhow, if this guy ends it with her, good for him. But if he doesn't, he's in for a whole world of hurt if things continue on with her.